trade for a pretty good starter that had, controllable years. They could, which would probably help them up where they could, trade Nova, open up a spot and go with someone younger. But, I mean, I'm not going to rail on them at that point for the Archer deal. I mean, they could have kept Cutch and went a different, or kept Cole and went a different route there. Why not keep Cole and never trade for Archer and just keep Meadows and
well, that's what I'm saying. Like I get the trading of Cole, but when you make that move to get Archer right there and you give up those two prospects, it's now. You're not doing that to say, okay, in 2 years we're going to go for it, because you only have Archer for 2 more years after that. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It seems like if you make that deal, you gotta think now, right?
And
you can't just say,
you do.
Look, well, now we got Archer, then now we got to shed payroll, so we can't support a competing team. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But
that's why I think like there still is something out there. They got to find it.
Yeah, but to me, what do you want to see then? You want to see them bring in more of a name? I mean, more free agents at that point?
Listen. That's don't put that in my mouth too. Like, I'm not going to be the person. Like, it has to be a name. I don't care so much about, again, Jordan Lyles. I like it. I'm not like I have to have a name. That's not what it is.
Right.
But I do want to see something, and I just feel like you don't make that Archer deal if you don't go and think like this offseason we're going to give this team a chance.
I definitely think that they are.
It's a good base, but it needs more.
It's this window. My issue, I think their problem too they're running into is, we said going into the offseason, where's the upgrade? We need to upgrade this somewhere. And the first thing was, it wasn't even positional wise. It was, you need a bat. You need a middle of the order bat to upgrade that offense. And that was the number one thing that we had said, now shortstop's available, second bases, we obviously have that opening. Even third base, if you want to put Moran back on the bench and sign someone like Donaldson or whatever. But you look at this free agency, Donardo, behind Harper, Machado, and even Donaldson, which isn't a guarantee, and he only got a 1-year deal. There isn't that, I wouldn't say name, but there isn't that, production that just makes sense where you're like, oh, they have to sign this guy, and he'd fit right in, and it would make sense in that lineup, and it would be an obvious upgrade. Now, we've heard names at shortstop. Jose Iglesias, more glove than bat. Freddie Galvis now has been coming out this past week, which, Galvis, he's durable. He's played 162 games the past 2 years each. But he's more glove than bat. It's kind of like Mercer with a better glove. Look, Machado's not happening. Harper's not happening. We talked Jed Lowry. It's just, I don't know where this upgrade is coming from. It's not that loaded with middle infielders.
I know. That's
and
the
even
tough part
you think okay, first base, we need a first baseman. Bell isn't getting it done. We need a power first baseman bat. The first baseman's in free agency stink. Logan Morrison, Mark Reynolds, Danny Valencia,
signed again.
Marwin Gonzalez. I know we've heard that name a couple times. Lucas Duda, but it's not there. So it's tough.
Marwin would make sense, but I don't see the Pirates doing it because I think he's going to get overpaid. You're not going to present that value there,
right?
In my eyes. Although he's a perfect Pirate. Clint Hurdle would love Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, he would play him everywhere. But to me, that's why it made sense for the Pirates not necessarily to go out and maybe get a Galvis or Iglesias, but you can't upgrade the lineup, but go and add to the bullpen. Now, you could say what you will about the Lyles deal. They probably still would like to get a left-handed reliever. We've heard, Duke, Diekman. We've heard those names passed around. Mm-hmm. But
also, our old friend
Perez.
Yes, I couldn't think of his name.
I burnt them again.
Yeah, Oliver Perez.
You've heard those names around. We've talked even the right-handers. Herrera. We've talked. There's Madsen. Kimbrel wants a $100 million deal. Forget that.
That ain't happening.
There's who we got here. We got Brock. We got Boxberger. You got Cody Allen, you got Tony Burnett, you got my boy Adam Warren, which I still would like. But so you have some names out there. Soria, who's still pitching well. So you have some names there in the bullpen. Like that's what I mean. Like go out and sign a couple bullpen guys and add to that, especially with the injury to Santana that happened and everything. So I just don't see where the upgrade is in the lineup, and I don't even starting pitching wise. I mean,
I know.
what are you going to go
That's
get?
That is what's frustrating to me. Like the positions that they do need isn't really out there. But again, like that's why I just don't feel like this is all about like just dumping Nova, Cervelli, and just going into this, as a skeleton crew for 2019, and just saving as much money because again, like the Chris Archer deal doesn't make sense. Like I'd rather have Meadows and Glasnow and go in it this year and at least make sense. Like, okay, so we're not really there. So let's get these guys and then we can prove on them, next year or something. But anyways, just something I want to bring up. Like, I don't really see, a lot of people are complaining because like the Morton deal, as you mentioned before, like people are trying to compare. There's a lot of other moves and such. It's like, I just wouldn't make sense to do it. So if it happens, then of course we can relieve our grievances on April 1st.
There you go.
But
there you
let's definitely give it the full off season. But let's bring up a name, and someone asked us actually to bring it up because you mentioned about what we need is a shortstop. We talked about names, right? The name matters. Well, there's a name out there, Ryan, a name of Troy Tulowitzki. Now, the Blue Jays, if you haven't heard, which I'm sure you have just dumped him. That they had him all last year. He didn't play an inning. He didn't have an at bat. They kept him, and then day 2 of the winter meetings, they just dumped him, and they owe him 38 or 39 million left on his deal. So any team can pretty much get him right now for more or less league minimum.
So I think we differ on this.
Okay, then this could be a good debate.
And as far as okay, why would you bring Tulo in? He's gonna, he's 33. Actually, no, he's 34 now. That's right. He didn't play last year. He's 34. Didn't play last year. He's had injury problems dating back to 2012.
1992.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Since 2012, I think the last season, 2013 was
he came out the womb with a sprained ankle.
Yeah. Toronto tried him. He had one pretty decent year in Toronto, 24 home runs in 2016, but a 761 OPS. Why do you bring him in? The Toronto cut him. Is he worth anything at this point? To me, and I don't think I think Tulo's not going to accept no minor league deal. Like he's going to want some guaranteed deal or somewhere where he knows he can start. Well, I'll tell you what, he could probably definitely start in Pittsburgh at this point with pretty much Newman and Eric Gonzalez pretty much only blocking him at this point. To me, we look for that out-of-the-box edge, Donardo. To me, it would make sense for the Pirates to take a chance on him. I don't know if, 1 year, maybe a 1 year, $2 million, $3 million deal where there's a bunch of incentives in, probably for, at-bats if you're healthy. You get more money by the more at-bats you make, more plate appearances. And this is that type of deal. We talked about like Donaldson. Like when Donaldson's healthy, he's an MVP candidate. Now, obviously, it's a big if for Tulo if he's healthy. But if the Pirates would hit on it and he would give you anything near to what he did in 2016 or even before that with that power bat at shortstop, it's a huge like low risk, big reward for the Pirates in my eyes. So if you could get him, if he could be had at $2 or $3 million, I like it. He's always pretty much been a positive defender over there at shortstop. He was a 3.4 Baseball Reference WAR just 2 years ago in 2016. I would take a shot on him. He was making $20 million then. Obviously, I don't want him at $20 million. But I think, like you said, the Blue Jays let him go. His value's pretty low. So, and like I said, they owe him money still, so he's probably just going to take whatever because he wants to start and prove himself. So get him on a 1 year low, $3 million prove it deal. And if he's healthy and he hits, he could be a big bat for the Pirates. And that's what the Pirates are missing. That's what they can't go out and get in free agency. Somebody at like shortstop that could hit 25 home runs a year.
Well, can he do that? That's a big if. The way you put it, though, you present it as it's a low risk, high reward. And I look at it as it's a high risk, high reward. Because if you go and get a Tulo, Ryan, are you getting a Tulo and somebody else? Like, are you taking up 2 roster spots for insurance at Tulo? Like, do you go get Galvis and Tulowitzki? I don't think the Pirates can afford to do that. Like, they can't get out there and have Eric Gonzalez and Adam Frazier and Gung and Moron, at third. Like, they can't afford all these roster spots.
If Tulo blows his knee out or something on April 3rd, you still have Newman that would probably be starting the season in AAA. And then you have Eric Gonzalez bouncing around. And then you also have Gung that can play shortstop.
So, no, you don't. That's the problem. Like, to me, I just feel like I want to be risk adverse on this. We already have so many risks on this team that adding another one in Tulo, it's just bad. It's just bad for the Pirates. It's bad for 2019. We're already bringing a Gung that you don't know what you're going to get. Now, he's been out of the league for 2 years. I mean, Tulo's missed like a year and a half, basically. But at least with Gung, it wasn't so much injury. It was just because he was an alcoholic and couldn't get in. His visa was denied. He's healthy. That injury's long gone, and he came back from it. So we know he's good in that sense. But we don't know what Gung's going to present. And now you're talking about Tulowitzki, who was already couldn't stay on the field. And now he's been out for a year and a half. And when he was on the field his last year in 2017 with his 66 games, he didn't provide much, Ryan. I mean, you talk about that power. He had an ISO of 129. He had 7 home runs and 260 at-bats. He slugged 378. He had a .1 WAR that year. His most recent season was not good, and now he's been injured for a year and a half afterwards. If you bring him in, and he goes down April 3rd, or he goes down whenever, because he's going to go down, and if he's not performing at that point in time, that's what you're getting at. You're stuck with Newman, and that's not good. I would rather him play safe and go get a Freddie Galvis. Yeah, though he doesn't have the ceiling that Tulo does. He's there, and Kevin Newman's not there right now, because Kevin Newman could one day be a viable option, but I'm not, again, that risk. I'm not placing that for next year because I did not like anything that I saw from him in my most recent look, which was last year.
Here's the problem,
So
Bernardo.
I would rather, hold on, I would rather have a Freddie Galvis there who has a limited ceiling but a much higher floor, because you have risks in Gung. You have risk in Cervelli, and if Cervelli's gone, you haven't seen a full season of Diaz. You have risk of who's Josh Bell. Is Polanco coming back? Is Chisenhall going to be healthy the whole time? You have so many risks on this team that I don't want to add another one, because it just means there's another piece that has to go right.
But if Tulo doesn't go right, what have you lost? $3 million or $2 million or whatever you sign him at. And here's the other thing, Bernardo.
A big hole at shortstop.
And you say we might be stuck with Kevin Newman. We might be stuck with Kevin Newman to begin with, without Tulo. There's no guarantee that they're going and getting Iglesias or Galvis.
Well, then shame on the Pirates.
And at that point, what is Galvis and Iglesias providing at that point? It's just a glove. And we've seen,
at least it's a glove. Tulo doesn't have a glove anymore.
Eric Gonzalez has a pretty good middle infield glove.
Okay.
So, at the very least, you have Eric Gonzalez that can provide a glove. So, to me,
so then who's our utility?
I don't think it's a guarantee that. Well, then Adam Frazier could be the utility. But
then
I don't
think it's
baseman. A guarantee. Yeah, we got a second baseman.
No, that's what I'm getting at.
We got Kramer. There's no guarantee that we're going to go
Newman
get
and Kramer in the middle infield.
Oh no, Gonzalez would be the shortstop.
Okay, then Gonzalez, big deal. Either or.
I like Kramer. I like Kramer.
I just don't like it.
There's no guarantee that they're going to pull in Galvis or Iglesias, and if they don't, then what are they left with at shortstop? They're left with the same options that we're staring at.
Then make a trade.
Gonzalez or Newman. Yeah, I mean, you want Nick Ahmed? I mean, it's
not
just,
really. But I'd probably take him over Tulo.
I'm saying,
I'm sorry.
It's low risk. If it doesn't
it's a
work,
high risk.
It's a
high risk.
You can cut them and be
saying
done
low
with
risk.
It. And the only thing you lose is money out of Nutting's wallet.
He hasn't been above 3 WAR since 2014. Now I'll take 3 WAR out of shortstop because we haven't seen that forever.
It was 3.4 WAR in 2016.
I get 3 on Fangraphs, but regardless,
You gotta get Fangraphs out of here.
Regardless, It's he's
what if
on
he
the
hits?
downside. He's
What if you
35. He's
keep
been
him
injured his
healthy?
whole career. He's had a really bad injury. I mean, you just don't know what you're getting.